All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Between the Spokes, an Anovia Wheels podcast. I'm Gels.
I'm Sam.
We're back with episode something. I can never remember.
Yeah, what are we on now, Josh?
14.
Wow, that's crazy.
Getting up
I say it
there.
every episode. Wow, that's crazy. I'll be numb to it at some point and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll keep track of it while we can. I can never really remember what I had for lunch, but
I made a salad today
you did.
with Dakota.
You guys are big salad boys.
Yeah.
I come in with my bomb-ass gyro. And you
Yeah,
guys
I
are
like how Dakota was sitting at the lunch table and he was just like, he was about to text me, "Are you done yet?" And I get out of my meeting at like 12:01. And he's like, "I was just sitting here watching Gels eat." I was like, "Why did you just sit there and watch him eat?" Like, that's
Well, like
weird.
I came back and I was like, I saw him and I was like, shit, I didn't even think to ask. Like,
Oh, you didn't even ask
no,
him?
I didn't. Because I was like, because I was already like running kind of late and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to grab something quick. I was like, oh, Yost is on the way. I'm going to pick up, just grab his order, call ahead, whatever. Roadside pickup. Good to
Shout
go.
out Yosef.
Shout out Yosef. You guys got the best damn euros. Holy shit. All right. But yeah, so I walked in. I was like, oh, God, I feel really bad. He's like, no, it's okay. I agreed to eat salads with Sam because Mario apparently bailed on you.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
sorry
salads.
to
We
hear
get
about
company
that.
food here, and we can make salads with it. So, Gels, are you ready for the drift day coming up?
Not yet, but we're going to get there.
What do you got to do left?
I got to figure out a front wheel situation. Tires should be on the way. So I got to get those mounted. Get my skid plate on, which isn't a huge deal, but I'd like to get it on.
Yep.
Make sure we get the coolant changed out for water.
Oh, yeah, that'll be easy.
That's easy. And that's really about it. Everything else is pretty solid.
Gotta get you some inner tie rods.
Inner tie rods,
I'm look that up tonight.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. But we got the whole e-brake handle situation.
So funny. Oh my
figured out.
God. So I went and looked at Gels' car. Like, honestly, super solid car. Like,
is, yeah.
a little rough around the edges, but like totally like worth the buy. And I go to pull his e-brake because his cable e-brake's the way to go. And the whole thing was kind of loose. And like, oh, Gels, you might want to tighten his bolt.
Like the bolts were in there. They were
Yeah.
just like backed out a little bit, like the motor mounts were. There's like backed out a little bit. And we're like, oh yeah, I'll just like take a socket, just tighten it up.
Boop!
Yeah,
Just popped right off.
There's a reason why they weren't tightened all the way down. That's about as far as they went because I believe it looks like it had been ripped out, welded about multiple different times. So I just said, screw that, and I drilled it out, re-tapped it, and it's solid now.
Yep. I'm excited for that. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Not this weekend, but the next weekend. Oh, I'm stressed.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least my parts are here.
I pulled my front end apart. Yep. You were over when I did that.
Yep,
Josh was over and did
there.
that.
There was a party over there.
Yeah,
Like
that
8
was
people over there.
I felt like it was a Fast and Furious like me. And then my friend Logan just showed up, and I wasn't checking my phone because I was a jerk. Because we listened to music, and then Logan showed up, and I was like, "Damn!" Then Isaac from down the street,
your neighbor over there, yeah.
yeah, he showed up. I was like, "Dang, this is like a party." But
It was sick.
that was fun. We gotta do that more this summer.
Yeah, I agree. That's always like the best times, right? Just like coming over, hanging out. Like we were all kind of working on something different. Like you were tearing your front end apart. I was like, all right, I should probably get my front end more aligned.
You got that aligned like in 2 seconds.
Well, it's easy when half of the front of the car is gone.
That's
and,
true.
Like ripped out. So
That's true.
You can literally step into the engine bay and just like
I love that feature.
I can just like I can adjust my coilovers without having to take my wheel off.
That is true.
I've done it.
Or do you even have to raise the car?
I mean, to make it easier, yeah.
Okay.
But if I just use my big boy strength, probably not.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
That's sick.
I love it.
So, speaking of drifting,
Yeah.
but not big cars,
Right.
I asked Gels to help me make an RC drift car.
Yes.
I'm so stoked about that.
Yeah. You want it?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's.
I gotta
run
finalize everything.
Yeah, let's run through the parts list again, but I'm definitely pretty excited about that.
I'd be super stoked to build another one of those. It's fun because they come in like a plastic model kit. In like little
I remember the one
and
showed
stuff.
up here, and you're like, like tiny. Everything was like real,
so
but
tiny.
like little baby sizes.
Yeah, it's like everything like transfers. Like it's like okay, here's your control arms, here's your like everything like that. You're like it suspends you.
Except the damn angle kit was like as much as like a real angle kit. I was like, what?
So anyone RC related out there, I was looking at like because I have a Tamiya TT02. I bought mine the TT02D, which is apparently like the drift one.
Okay.
I don't really know what the difference is. I think it just comes with different tires, honestly.
Sure.
But they're all-wheel drive, and mine has a racing rear-wheel drive conversion, but that also comes with a bunch of more like adjustable aluminum parts.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought mine, it was like $120 for the
Joe's
conversion kit.
Yeah, it was like
for
$100.
the conversion kit.
No problem. I was like, oh, that seems pretty cheap. And then you
They're
looked
like
it up in front of me.
$200 now.
I was like, oh my
That
God.
shit got pricey real quick.
That'll literally double the
when I
price.
did. Yeah, so you can just get the angle kit, and it was like $20.
Sick.
So you don't get the upgraded shocks and control arms and stuff. But
I'm a baby racer. Let's look at it this week and then pull the trigger. So our topic today.
Yeah.
How would we do things differently if we started over? Like young Bells, young Sam.
Oh.
Like we go back.
Oof.
Go back in time a long time for me.
I got a lot.
So how do we want to approach this one? Because there's a lot here.
It's kind of chronological. Yeah, that's a big word. Yeah.
So what was the first enthusiast? I know we've kind of talked about this before, but what would you consider your first like enthusiast car where you did like those enthusiast things too?
Oh God, I mean, so it's kind of around the same time because it kind of happened back to back, but I pretty much like inherited our family's like 2005 Neon SXT.
Oh yeah, we were both neon dudes.
Yeah.
That wasn't my first enthusiast car. It was like my first
and and it was just like kind of, hey, the car is basically yours. Like it's my parents bought it like pretty early on. Like they bought it off the lot. Like
new?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Those are like I know actually I don't you never hear people talk about neons anymore, but I thought they were pretty good cars. Like for what they were, honestly. Like I love that car.
It was fun to drive.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a go-kart.
The sound system of those things slapped.
Yeah. Did you have like a SXT model?
SXT.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's mine was the generation beforehand with the round.
It was like the
headlights.
Inferno red, like dark red, like metallic, like color was
that's
super
cool color.
dope. It was a SXT.
What color was the interior?
Black.
Was it leather?
No.
With SXT? Oh, I prefer non-leather. Honestly.
Yeah. No, it was the regular cloth interior. It had like the paint matched.
What
like
was the
bezels.
Plymouth version of the neon called?
I think it was just called the Neon.
Oh,
you're Plymouth Neon.
Yeah. That's so fun. So stupid. Like we're not even gonna
like,
really.
At least when they had like DSM, like Plymouth did like the Laser, and Eagle did like the Talon.
Yeah.
It was like just fucking called the Neon.
Yeah, we got the badges printed. There's a lot of them. Like we got to use these up.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot. The Plymouth Neon was actually the one that was in Need for Speed Underground.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. We should do a podcast on car video games at some point, by the way.
Absolutely.
But I didn't know it was the Plymouth Neon.
Pretty sure it was. Because it was, I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't disbelieve it. I just remember seeing the Neon and I was like, that's the car that I have.
Yep.
Like, it's a race car.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't do a whole lot to that. Okay, so looking back at it, hindsight's 2020, right?
Here's the other thing, though. You inherited it. So it's like you can't really change, like, your car choice. Because I'll be honest, like, you don't get to choose what you inherit, essentially. Right. But, like, did you do some stuff to it that you would do differently?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy.
So, obviously, as a 16-year-old dude working a part-time job at a fast food restaurant, like, 3 days out of the week for, like, 3 hours shifts at a time, making, like, $100 on a paycheck kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, like, exhaust was, like, that was cool, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
want a nice
Make
exhaust.
it cool.
It's like, for the SXT, not a ton of options out there, except for like maybe there was like a Magnaflow option, like a Borla option. So like two pretty expensive, well-known brands out there. So it was like $500-$600 at the time for an exhaust. So I was like, oof, hell no, like I can't do that. I got friggin' Call of Duty Black Ops to buy. Yeah. So can't do that. But this eBay exhaust.
Wait, did Black Ops come out when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry.
Anywho,
when did it come? How old were you?
I remember doing Black Ops like tournaments in college.
Yeah. I mean.
Anywho.
Yeah, whatever.
Keep going. But it was like well into college.
Oh shit. Like you were drinking in college?
Who wasn't drinking in college?
I mean,
that's the real question.
Yeah.
I actually didn't drink till I was 21.
Right.
No, seriously, like none of my friends were into it. And then, then I turned 21 and I got wild.
It's usually how it goes. Anyway, back on top. Yeah, so it was like, obviously eBay was the next route. And it was like, I think it was like literally like $175 or like $200 for this exhaust. It was like a full system. It was like a catback system, stainless steel.
Does it have like the horizontal, like big muffler
Yes.
thing? Yeah.
So that was the weird part, and I'll show you a
Oh,
picture
no.
of this later. But basically, it was decent construction because it's. I think it's still on. I think my brother still has
Stainless
the car.
steel, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I think my brother still has the car. And
oh,
it's
really?
still on there.
Damn.
So it's like held up for however
That's
many
a long
years it's
time.
been. The car is rotting out before the exhaust
Yeah.
is coming to work. So like honestly, quality wise, put together pretty well.
Yeah.
But fitment wise, not the great. It was the dumbest looking exhaust looking back on it now, because it was like, you know, on the Neons it has like the muffler horizontal.
Yeah.
And like originally it was just kind of like
Like the
just
two little, was it
no,
a
it was
twin tip?
one.
It was one? Okay.
And they kept it one. And so, but it like, instead of like just kind of like falling off to the side, like the stock one,
Yeah.
it like came out and then it just had this, so it's like a little tubing and then it like came out to this massive like truck tip.
Was it like welded on, or did you have like the
No, it
grub
was welded
screws?
on. So it's like
Oh,
you couldn't
damn.
adjust it.
Oh,
and it like
damn.
sat like kind of like this and it just hit up against the bumper.
Oh, I remember
And I was
one of
like,
our first episodes you saying that. Yeah.
it'll be fine. And it just melted the bumper. And it really, it didn't sound bad because it really didn't make a sound at all.
Yeah.
It literally sounded so close to stock. It like idle, it rumbled a little bit, but like other
Like
than
a
that,
cold starter probably like.
yeah. Other
sounded
than that,
cool.
it was like almost stock, and
Yeah.
it just looked atrocious.
Oof.
The next was another eBay part, cold air intake.
That's kinda- I
the-
mean,
the
yeah.
worst part about the fitment again, terrible. It did open up the exhaust a little bit more. Like it was kind of crazy because anytime I would do something to the car, my buddy Luke, who lived down the kind of down the road from me, I'd always hop over and was like, dude, like, come check this out. Like, you know,
out of my
so
car.
I was like on my way to go pick him up, and I was like driving the car for some time. I was like, this thing sounds crazy now, because it was like the intake noise, like whoop, like it had that like kind of growl. It was like, yo, this thing's
Whoa.
crazy. And so I took him for a ride and stuff like that. And then the only other thing I really did to that car was some underglow. It was sick. Neon with neon. That was the
neon,
shit.
neon squared.
Neon square.
So we're kind of talking about like if you do things over, would you do any of those mods over?
Would I
Or
do
do
the
something
same
differently?
mods? Probably.
Yeah.
Would I have paced myself and not try to do everything all at once? Like hindsight's 2020. Yeah, probably. The exhaust, absolutely atrocious. The intake, literally, because the fitment was so bad, it wouldn't stay together. Because what it would do is it followed kind of like the same route as the OEM intake.
Yeah.
Which,
it
if you're
go, like,
looking at
the
the front of
side
it,
and come up?
it came across the side. It came up and then it like went through like a hole
Oh,
in
for
like
the cold
the
air
fender
intake?
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it went through a hole in like the fender well, and then it like kind of sat down in front of the front driver's side wheel.
Yep.
In that area, and the fitment was just so bad that like it kept separating at that joint where it would go down,
Probably
and
'cause it was
eventually
shaking,
the
so-
whole thing just fell off, and it was running with no filter for probably like months.
Dude, maximum inflow or
Yeah.
air intake.
It never threw a check engine light, which was absolutely crazy.
Well, I mean, it would. Yeah, and I guess until you're.
Yeah.
Is that a MAF that was used?
Yeah, there was a MAF. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't get all super dirty.
I know it was really weird, but
was weird.
yeah. So definitely invest in a better looking exhaust because the sound was fine.
Yeah.
It was literally
It
fine.
sounds like it's an eBay exhaust.
Yeah.
Like it probably, if you would have known a little bit more, maybe you could have like heated up the tip and bent it down a little
Yeah.
bit. But
looking back on it too, just probably would have gone with maybe like a set of lowering springs or something for it because that thing sat so freaking high.
yeah, those would have.
Oh my God,
I
that
had
thing
a
was a
sport
freaking
model
monster
that
truck.
was a little bit lowered,
Yeah.
so that was. Okay.
And there was like no ground effects on the car either,
Yeah.
so it like did not help. At least like the SRT4 had like a little lower bumper, some side
for all
skirts and
season
stuff.
around here in Wisconsin, for you being a high schooler, probably not really knowing how to drive in the winter at first, probably was okay to be a little higher.
Yeah, I mean, but God, it was so bad. I remember just like for
I remember the
longest
back
time,
of those would be like
it
super high up.
Yeah, it was literally like a rake.
Yeah.
To it, and it's just insane.
It looked like one of those. I remember those neons if they weren't lowered, and I don't mean this like in a bad way, but
Yeah.
like the vans that are like configured for like disability stuff. So like the rears are raised with more leaf springs.
Oh, yep.
It looked like that
Yeah, I
because
know.
it was like up
It's
in
got
the
some
air.
serious rake to it. It was crazy. So it was like, yeah, I remember like looking for like, oh, I want some wheels right away. I'm like, no, I probably should have. I didn't end up getting wheels for it. I was too broke. But
What was
yeah,
the first set of wheels you bought? Oh no.
I don't even know. I don't know what they were.
I'm trying to think. What were the first sort of, here, let's change it.
Yeah.
What was the first sort of aftermarket wheels you owned? So maybe you didn't buy, like, did they come on a car or something like that?
Okay, so backstory. The second car, because like after the Neon, I was like, all right, I know things now. I'm experienced. I know the mistakes.
Hey, welcome to our podcast.
Oh boy.
Wow, you're doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's your video? Oh my God, he's 20 feet away.
He's right there.
Hi
Keep an eye on
everyone.
us.
How are you?
I don't think they
Would
can
you
hear
like
you.
to see something cool?
I can't hear you. Hold on.
It doesn't spin right now.
What do you mean it doesn't spin?
Josh is gonna kill me. All right, now it spins.
No, let me get it. You guys want to see something incredible? Look at our deco directional styling. You will notice that the spokes go one direction, and on the other side of the car, they also go the same direction because we don't want to be broke bitches. We want to be proper enthusiasts with vehicle designs, with wheel designs swooping in the correct direction. Don't be a nerd. Get your directional wheels built the right way at anoviawheels.com.
That was great.
Did I do all right?
Yeah, you did good.
Perfect.
Are you hiding your C4 Starburst drink back here?
You didn't want me to have it up front.
It's not C4 Starburst. It's Blur It. Blur It like the rap videos.
Sponsor us.
Superhuman performance. Do you even know what carnosine is?
Yeah, it's what's in my body right now.
We're going to put that down. You can have this back.
Cool. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Car no sin. That's when cars go to church and confess. Oh God.
So, anywho, Josh, have fun editing that. He's probably gonna keep all that in there, actually.
Yeah. So anyway, after
So first of aftermarket wheels. You get in the backstory.
yeah. So right after the Neon, I went to the Eclipse. So I picked up this 2G Eclipse. It was blown motor. I knew nothing about it except for my mom was a teacher. Is one of her former students, and she knew that he had the car, and I was looking for Eclipse, and was like, oh, I wonder if so-and-so has their car. I'm like, yeah, right, Mom, and sure shit, it actually
It's there.
did,
Yeah.
and it just had a blown motor, it was 420A, base model, GS, whatever, but it was manual and it was an Eclipse, and I wanted it, so I took it and did a whole bunch of stuff to it. But eventually, we can come back to that, but when I was in college, I was like, I need new wheels for this thing. And I went on Craigslist, and I was like, I want 17s
Big wheels.
by 7s.
Big wheels. Because they come with 16s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like 16 by 6. I'm like 17
16s
by
are-
7.
16s are weird because they're hard to find tires for
Yeah,
now.
make it like wider, right? Because I knew
dude,
nothing about
big,
offset.
meaty
So I
setup.
was like a 17 by 7. So these had to be like some stock wheels.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now. And like they had these just absolutely thrashed balloon tires on it. And I paid like $300 for them.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was rough.
Damn.
It was
So you
rough.
probably
They
do
were,
that
like,
purchase
they're
over.
like plasti dipped and yeah.
Oh,
It
oh,
was like
no.
matte black, yeah, yeah. But the first set of true aftermarket wheels that like I went and purchased, like new
Yeah.
NK and TO3s.
Damn. That's
So a little bit of a
That's a come up. Like, that's sick. That's one of those things where you ask them like what their first CDs they ever bought, and like usually they're ashamed, but sometimes someone has like, oh, it was the Beatles, like whatever. You're like, okay, that's pretty good.
pretty good.
I'm dating myself. Holy shit.
And you want to talk about records next, or
Yeah, let's talk
8-tracks?
about records.
Are you more of an 8-track kind of guy?
No, I've never had an 8-track
Cassettes?
player. I have cassettes. I have a lot of records. I have a huge record
I mean,
collection.
I feel like records are like
They're cool now.
They're still cool.
Yeah. So, the first car that I ever bought, so I inherited a Neon, but I didn't do anything with it.
Damn.
Like,
You just inherited neons.
I know,
like crazy.
Neon Boys. The one I actually bought with my own money was a 1998 Integra LS.
Okay.
Super cool car, except looking back on it now, it was an automatic. Not so
Yeah.
cool, but I didn't really know how to drive manual.
True.
And I had a friend who was willing to teach me, and I never took him up on it because I was like, I don't know. Like I liked cars, but like I don't know. My whole family like was into muscle cars, and they're pretty much all automatic cars, and I was like, whatever. So I never really like knew how cool manual could be. But before I bought that Integra, I went and looked at a 240 SX, and it was like absolutely mint fresh.
It's like 30K right now.
I know, and it was KA, and I remember my friend who went with me to go look at it. Dude was nice enough to come look at it with me, but he was not knowledgeable enough to do anything.
Yeah.
And the guy had he compression tested the motor, and he had with like a paint pen, he wrote the compression numbers on the valve cover.
Sure.
And my friend was like, dude, if he had a compression test and he wrote the numbers on, bad sign. Thinking back on it now, I was like, dude, this guy took so much care of the car. It was an auto 240 SX.
Dang,
and
I
it
loved
was
auto
like
cars.
$2,000. It was like super cheap.
That's
black,
crazy.
like it was a
That's
coupe,
insane.
like super, super nice. And I was like, no, I don't want it, because my dad was like, you can't get rear wheel drive and drive that in the winter.
Yep. God, that was such a big argument.
Dude, I regret not like thinking about the 240 more. And then I was like, man, this isn't a cool car. It's a 240. Like Hondas were super cool. So that the Integra, I got that. I really wish I would have learned manual to buy a manual car. But the Integra was still so fun to drive.
Yeah.
I drove that thing everywhere, and it got crazy good gas mileage. The only mods I did to that were I did LED lights in the interior and the gauge cluster and stuff, which I would do that again. Like for those cars, it's a really good mod.
Yeah.
And then on teamintegra.net, which was the forum at the time, I bought.
Hell yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. I bought a second
It's even
hand.
.com. It's a .net.
Yeah, .net, yeah. Dang. I remember it. I was trying to think of it the other day, and I was like, I wonder if it's still there. But that was like the Zilvia for like Integras.
Yep.
And it was an InGen, actually, air intake. The guy had painted it like candy purple.
Yep.
So it looked kind of weird in my red car, but that was the first mod that I ever did. And it was a short ram intake, the same thing like the intake. I was like, wow! I was like, whoa!
That sounds nuts! Yeah.
And yeah, I just regret not like getting a manual. And then really the biggest regret I have is not trying to learn how to work on cars sooner, because I really didn't know anything of how to work on cars. That car also, like, fucked up thing about it, I had a flat tire in the winter. My dad was like, oh no, so this is on my Neon. He was like, oh, like just go change it, be a man. I was like, well, I don't know how to do this. He's like, I'll show you. So he like told me how to do it.
Yep.
And I got the tire wrench out, and I couldn't get the lug nut off. And my dad was like, quit being a little bitch and like just like pull it harder.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I can't get it. So my dad is smaller than I am, and he tries to like move it, can't do it. Ended up heating it up, and the previous owner did red Loctite on the lug nuts.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. And I was,
Jesus.
because he took it off, and you see like the
Yep.
thread locker dust. I was
You're
like, what? But
those weren't going anywhere.
dude, yeah, those were not coming off. Yeah, I just regret not working on cars or learning how to work on cars sooner, because
Yeah.
that would have made it so much easier to do stuff. Or like, I was scared to look at some cars because it said they needed something, and looking at it now,
Right.
I'm like, oh, it needed brake pads. That's like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's super easy.
And on the other hand, I'm like 17 years old looking at this rusted out freaking blown motor Mitsubishi Eclipse. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that's I would not have done that.
So
That's probably one of the best things you could have done.
So
though.
yeah, so like looking back on it, would I do it again? Probably, because like I learned so much with that car, and like how to work on stuff, and like the pains of that
Yeah.
stuff, and like what to look out for, and like all this kind of stuff, and like learning how bad rust actually is, and all this stuff. So it's like, in the long run, yeah, I spent so much money getting that car back to like kind of like a stock form.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, getting new body panels, getting rust repaired, getting the new engine, you know,
Yep.
in, and you know, and at the end of the day, it was just like, okay, well, it's a stock 420A. Because I'm like, wasn't smart enough to be like, oh no, I'll take the 420A out of there, go get it built
Yeah.
for the same price of buying like a brand new one.
Yeah.
And then, so I put the stock 420A back in there, and I did like a header and a catback exhaust, intake, and then like some lowering springs, and then got it like resprayed the same color.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was really like about it that was done too. But I mean, it did some like the audio stuff, of course, and
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. But
Oh, I did have a sub of mine.
it was just like, it was one of those cars where I didn't necessarily modify a ton, but I was always working on it because I was fixing things. And it
Yep.
was like, yeah, it didn't maybe look the greatest. I was super proud of it because it's like, yeah, I did all that shit. Like I got it.
You learned a lot.
And I learned so much.
And you learn what not to do, which
Yes.
is like
That's very true.
that's what you go through in any journey with any hobby or anything you're interested in, is like, oh, what should I avoid or not do? And that's what I didn't learn, because like if I like your example of like taking something that thinking back on it, you're probably like, I shouldn't have done it. But like honestly, from my perspective, like an outsider's like, damn, that was like the best decision you could have made because you probably acquired a skill set way faster than I would have.
It was crazy because it was actually super fortunate enough too because like we started the motor swap at like a local like auto shop, and the guys there were like super cool enough to be like, hey, can I just stop in after school and like just watch or like help? And they're like, yeah, we don't care. Like you're paying us money.
Yeah, you're paying us.
It's like it's small town northern Wisconsin, so it's like that stuff's pretty common. But
Yep.
like it was still super cool of them to like allow us to do that. And like I said, I learned a ton from that, and then we actually finished all of that in our high school shop class. So like kind of buttoning everything up, and because it was like literally right down the road from the school. So. Yeah, I remember like being able to actually drive the car for the first time because like I got it in like it was like probably like October or November, and it just sat like for all winter. And then by the time like spring was finally coming, like we got the motor, we got it to the shop, and like it was like, you know, by almost end of summer then it was finally able to be drove. So it was like had it for almost like a year. Yeah, and I was finally able to drive it. Like this is the coolest thing. That's like sick. We saved this car, and hey, it's still driving around. Like Casey from here, he has it now. So
that's so crazy. Yeah. That's cool though. So all right, your first set of aftermarket wheels were NTO3s. So
yeah, I went and actually.
Do you have any regrets about buying one of the coolest wheels ever made?
Hell no, I love those wheels.
I mean, Anovia wheels are cooler, but for real, NTO3s are sick.
Literally, my second set of aftermarket wheels ever were my own design. So.
He's bragging.
He's bragging about it.
My second wheels are my own design. So the first ones that I bought, that came with my Mustang, they were Foose wheels. They're 20s, and they looked a little big when I got the car. Yeah. Now it's probably like fine. Yeah. It was lowered. It like looked cool. They weighed like 400 pounds a piece. Like
yeah, I was gonna say those gotta be heavy.
Then I bought. So I drove the car in the winter, and I don't regret this at all. I think it was the most fun thing I ever did. Was I had a Mustang GT and I drove it all year round. Yeah. And I bought some Ford Racing, like the OEM. I think it was an option wheel, like the 5-spoke, like muscle car looking wheel. I bought those. They're 17 and got winter tires for it. That Mustang was so much fun in the winter because maybe it was. Premonition, but I would just throw it out at every corner I could and just hit it at lock and let it eat, and it was so much fun.
That's literally what so when I went off to college, I was like, I don't want to be driving the Eclipse everywhere because it was like lowered and like on the.
You did a lot of work to it too.
On the small wheels. It's like, I want to keep it like as nice as I can. Like there's still rust and stuff, but it's like I don't want to like make it worse.
Exactly.
And so there is this E36. It was a 4-door black E36 manual, had like just over 200-some thousand miles on it. Looked like I think the passenger side fender met like a fire hydrant or something.
Like it met it like nicely, or was it like kind of a crash?
It was like the bottom like corner like near the door was like caved in.
Oh,
it was like wasn't terrible.
Was the door okay?
Yeah, door was fine. Yeah, it was just like the front fender was just super weird.
Yeah,
missing some trim pieces, but. The driver's side window didn't go down. Your typical stuff. Yeah. It was at this dealership up by us, and it was like very out of place because it's like a Dodge Chevy.
Like they took it on trade or something weird?
Yeah, they took it on trade, and they're like, what the fuck to do with this? So my mom was picking up a new truck at the time, and I was like, yo, what is up with that?
Yeah, that looks cool.
They're like, I don't know, you want it? And I was like, well, can I take it for a test drive? They're like, well, it's manual. I was like, I can drive manual. They're like, yeah, let's go take it for a test drive.
Oh, he's bragging again because I said I couldn't drive manual. Jealous is manual, man.
And I was like, it ran good. Like, it was fast compared to the Eclipse. It was like, straight 6.
Your baseline's pretty low.
Yeah, baseline was pretty low. So I was like, damn. This is like, how much you want for it? Like, honestly, we'll just like take $900 for it. And it was like something with like when my mom getting the truck, they just like wrote it off as like a text. I don't know what exactly they did, but like
small town Wisconsin stuff.
Yeah, it was like $900 that I ended up paying for this car.
Damn.
And I ran that thing for like 5 years. And looking back on it now, holy shit, because that thing
would have been great.
Was rough.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like it just was on its last legs. And thinking back of like how I drove that thing everywhere all the time. And it's like I would take a 2.5-hour trip from Park Falls to Wausau.
All right,
like no problem, and then it was
I
like.
need you to remember that when you get worried about driving your 240 to the track.
I know.
Remember how far you drove that BMW?
I know. I literally think about that all the time because it was like at one point, like, it almost started on fire because, like, we, like, the fuel rail just, like, came disconnected.
Oh, like it popped up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just spraying gas all over the place. I was like, that smells like fuel. And I, like, stopped. There's, like, fuel pouring. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ. And it would never really, it wouldn't hot start ever.
Okay.
It was like, it like wouldn't turn on. I don't know if it was something with like a security system or something, or if there was just like a bad ground. So I don't know what it was, but it was like, you would have to like pop the clutch to get it started.
I remember you saying this before.
And it's like almost everywhere I went, it was like, all right, like push it in. It's like hop back, and then it would start to turn over, or like it would just be enough to.
But you learned how to like start a car.
I would like carry ramps with me and like kind of just back it up on the ramps and then just let it go down if I knew it was like a flat.
And then once it was idling, you went like grabbed your ramps and put it back in the car.
yes. And yeah, so like I dealt with that for like 5 years. I'm like, I don't want to go buy another car. Like it's working fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But then it was like the whole point where it like almost started on fire, and suspension components were like getting weird, and like rust was becoming an issue. It was just like, all right, maybe we're gonna let it kind of die out for a little bit. But I mean, yeah, I drove that thing all year round on just a set of shitty all seasons and did the same thing, whipped it in the snow, went and found parking lots and stuff. Had a fucking blast with that car. I definitely got my money's worth out of that car. Yeah, I don't regret that car at all. I think it was sick. But looking back at it now, holy shit, I can't believe I traveled the distances that I did with that thing.
Yeah.
Like, even to, like, from Park Falls, Menominee, like 3 hours.
That's a long
drive. And I'd, like, drive back middle of winter. I remember losing heat in it one time.
Oh, so
and that was kind of near the end of it when I was getting out of college. It was like, I was driving one winter, and I was, like, coming back home, and it was, like, late, and I was like, oh, my God, I have no heat. Like, that's not good.
Is your windshield fogging up on the inside?
Yeah, and I was like, it was like super cold. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like freezing. So I got home and I was like, all right, well, it must be a thermostat. So I replaced that and did all that stuff. And it was actually the water pump because I was on my way back and I saw like the temp starting to go up. I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah. And
it's still winter, mind you, so it must have gotten really hot. And so all of a sudden I pulled off. I let everything chill out for a little bit. And I started going back up, and it wasn't like super hot yet, but the pressure must have just been insane in there.
Much, yeah.
And I was like driving on the highway, also just poof, and like just smoke screen.
Oh,
and I'm like,
man.
and the car stalled because it sucked in all the coolant. And I was like, oh my God. So I had like no brakes. I had like no like steering.
No
I couldn't see anything. I was like, oh God, I'm just going to like drift off to the thing here. The water pump just like disintegrated.
Oh,
and it
shit.
just
blew up.
Yeah, it blew up. And that was kind of near the end of it because at the point I'm just like, I'm sick of dumping money into this thing, and it needed so much more stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun car.
So what do you regret?
What do I regret?
Yeah. And I think it's hard to say selling a car because like they all would have increased in value.
Yeah.
But.
Honestly, like I said, the Neon had some regrets to it. The Eclipse, I think instead of like swapping out for like a new engine, like I said, I think I really would have liked to gotten the chance to like maybe build that engine. So like even if it was just like, maybe putting some like different internals in it and, doing just like some cams and stuff like that. Even just doing something like that versus like spending all that money on like a brand new engine.
Yeah.
That still ended up leaking a shit ton of oil all the time. I don't know.
Mitsubishi.
And yeah, probably that. The BMW, no regrets. It was a $900 car that lasted me way longer than it should have.
That's fair.
The Outback. I should have never bought that car.
Yeah,
that blew up in like 4 months of ownership.
That's bad. That's really bad.
That sucked. That I paid like double for that car what I did for the BMW, and it lasted me 4 months.
That sucks.
So fuck that.
That was your cheap car streak.
Yeah, I just wanted like a daily.
Yeah.
I just needed a daily. Now, knock on wood, got this BMW.
It should be pretty reliable daily.
Doing pretty decent.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I regret not learning manual faster because I could have just got a lot of cool cars. That I really the one car that I couldn't have gotten a manual that I would own again in a second was my XJ8, my Jaguar.
Yeah, you talk about that a lot.
That was such a cool car. But that also, man, that thing cost a lot of money because I don't know how to work on cars at all then. and it chewed through rotors like crazy, and like just a bunch of little stuff that I could easily do now, but then I was super intimidated by it.
Yeah.
Like, I needed some new subframe bushings and stuff, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's scary because like a lot of times, like I know, like I was on like my own. I was living in like in my apartment. Like I didn't have like a ton of tools, you know,
Or
like
a spot to work on it. Yep.
So it's like, yeah, it's like that simple stuff now.
Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, that was super intimidating at the time because it's like not only was it the cost of the parts, but it's like, oh, I got to go buy.
Well, Josh just died.
It was like I got to go buy like the tools for it. Like I go buy a jack, and then it's like, damn, jack's
Yeah.
like $100, and it's like
I
jack
know.
stands like $80, and then it's like the brakes are like $200. I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. I'm freaking college. Like,
And what jack stands were you buying for like $80?
I don't know, I was working at O'Reilly's at the time. I thought that was the only place you could buy stuff because I was like, oh, I got my discount, but then.
Isn't it funny when you get into something to realize like where you can buy stuff from? You're like, whoa, this is way cheaper.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Harbor Freight's a thing.
Yeah. I remember when I first learned about Harbor Freight, I was like, whoa, like this is it. And I bought so much stuff from there. And once I started working on stuff more and more and more, I started phasing out my Harbor Freight stuff because some things they're really good for. Some things they're not so good for at all. Like the wrenches that I had, at least, I ended up stripping like one too many bolts. And I specifically remember
Dang.
I stripped a bolt and I was like, F this. And I just like threw the wrench down and I was like so mad. And I went to, was it AutoZone? Whoever carried gear wrench. I don't know if they do anymore.
Oh,
and
I'm not sure.
I was like, I need gear wrench tools because at least like good value for the money. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, tools are. Spend a lot of money on.
That's actually maybe a thing
shit
I
tools.
regret too, is spending a lot of money on kind of shit tools.
Yeah.
And not
a good point. That's a
not doing
really
the
good point.
buy ones, cry ones, that sort of thing.
Yep.
I do regret that. It might be worth doing an episode actually talking about like working on cars and like things to buy, like tools.
Yeah,
that would
like
actually probably be
necessities.
pretty
Because
fun
like
one.
I never realized how like important like just a good or like a decent jack. Because I still have a Harbor Freight jack, but those Daytona jacks kind of slap. I'm just gonna
Dude,
say.
okay, Formula Drift, everyone's using Harbor
I
Freight
know. I
jacks.
literally,
Like,
I pointed that out. I was
Yeah.
like, I got the same jack. I'm like, I'm good. No, I love that because we were literally doing like the RX-8 build, and I thought I had this like low profile jack that I picked up from O'Reilly's when I was working there. When I had to replace actually the, I think it was the radiator on the Eclipse that I had to replace, and yeah, I bought this like little.
like the little yeah.
What the hell is it called? Anyway.
Well, like the super small little like pumper arm, like it's really small.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, this thing kind of cool. And
Yeah.
I remember like we started to film the RX-8 stuff, and Brent's like, what the hell kind of bullshit jack do you have there? I was like, what's wrong with my jack?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh man, what's wrong with my car? You know, like
Yeah.
it was like that with my jack, and they're like, we had to go to Harbor Freight for something. I'm like, there's a sale on Daytona jacks. It's a really low profile. It's like a 3-ton jack. I might as well just buy one of those.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Those are nice.
Nice little upgrade.
Yeah, I do regret not getting those nicer tools because it also like having the right tools and nice tools, it makes things go faster.
Yeah.
Like it really helps.
Yeah, because like when you have, because like you can. It's the thing where you use multiple tools for one thing, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's like if you had the right one, it'd just be so much better because you spend all
Yep.
that time trying to get something to work for something that you could have just gotten to work.
Yeah, when I had to do the clutch fan on my F-150, there's like a special clutch fan wrench
Yep.
for those. It's like a weird size, and I was like, whatever, I'll just spend the money on it. It took me like 10 minutes to change it, all because that tool just like worked flawlessly. I was like, damn, this is great.
We were actually doing the air suspension install on Dakota's GTI.
Oh, yeah.
And those, they have like the little separator tool. It's the goofiest looking thing, and it's like that you can just pry it, right? Because they got like the knuckle and the strut slides into like that housing.
Yep.
So you have to kind of get like separate that a little bit. We probably fought for like 2 hours trying to get 2 to 3 hours trying to get the stock strut out of there, because we didn't have the little
tool.
square tool thing to stick in there. We were trying like pry bars. We were trying everything.
You
3
just
hours.
can't get the leverage.
We were just
You
getting
probably scratched all
we
the
were getting
shit, too.
so pissed. Yeah, like just beating everything. We were like so pissed. We're like, screw it. So like sat on jack stands for like the week. Dakota like went and bought like the little tool off like freaking Amazon. He got it in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I was just like,
damn it. That's another thing too. Maybe I regret a little bit, or like would do over, is asking for help sooner.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's one thing like struggling through it, like learning, but at some point it's like, man, you could save some time and probably do it safer with someone showing you how to do it.
Yeah, I think don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, I know, like when I was wrapping RX-8, like I went to Dustin right away. I was like, dude, what tips you got for me? Can you come help me with like the bumpers? I know there's gonna be a pain in the ass, and it was still a pain in the butt, but like it went a lot better than it could have, and even like reaching out to like Rainey to like cut the fenders for the wide body.
That
was just like,
would have been way better.
I was like, I can't weld, and I'm not going to try to learn how to weld just for the sake of doing everything myself. So I'm really glad I went that route, because I think if I would have just done it myself, I would have had a lot of regrets there.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's pretty much all I can think of. I think we should do an episode on like tools and working on cars, because there's some funny stories.
Oh yeah,
I've done some fucked up stuff to like when I couldn't get a bolt loose on my Mustang, I took the breaker bar and I took my jack, I was over here, the breaker bar on the jack, and I jacked it up to like, dude, that's unsafe as, don't do that. That can end very badly. But I didn't know that until I saw some Fail Army videos and saw someone get really hurt. Yeah. But no, I think that's kind of, wow, that sounds expensive. Oh, is it?
It's got to be. Oh yeah. Oh,
that's a Mustang.
I think loud as hell.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah, no, it's obviously, like I said, looking back on things, it's easy to say like, oh yeah, I would have done this, but maybe those stories will help someone out there. If you're on the verge of going to pick up some $300 plastic dip wheels, don't do that. Save that $300, get some lowering springs or something, because it'll probably look way better.
You know what I think about it? I think the moral of my car story, and maybe it's kind of in yours too, is don't do that thing you think you should do right away. I know like a month seems like forever, but save up and then just do it right.
Yeah, that's literally like the majority of mine is like, if I would have just waited like a couple more weeks, saved a couple more paychecks, I could have just got what I wanted.
Yep.
And nope, I was greedy. I wanted that immediate gratification.
Yeah.
And I went and bought cheap eBay stuff or the stuff off Craigslist,
sucked.
and it sucked. So yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. And don't forget, if you need some new wheels for your car or tires or suspension, we got it all. Check it over at AnoviaWheels.com. Go follow us on Instagram. Go follow us on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. We're everywhere. TikTok, too.
Make TikTok
some dope TikToks.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm Jels.
I'm Sam.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys.